Ready or not, 2025 is basically here, which means you need to start getting ready for that big Disneyland trip that you're going to be taking. And stat, I think I know just the video that can help you out with that. You're in the right place. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. Dazzling sword fights, magic spells, a prince in disguise. Nope, this isn't just another one of Belle's favorite stories. This is Disneyland, a place where fantasy comes to life and is waiting for you to explore. Today, we're giving you the whole kit and caboodle for what you should expect from Disneyland in 2025, because there's a lot going on, along with our best tips, hottest recommendations, and a few fun games along the way too. We are ready to get started. Speaking of games, are you ready to play a game with your family to see how much y'all know about Disneyland right off the bat? For this game, I'll be showing you a super zoomed in shot of a certain section inside Disneyland, and if you can name that land without any helpful clues, give yourself 3 points. However, if you can name it after I give you 3 helpful hints regarding the details of that park section, you're gonna earn 1 point. And if you still don't guess it after that, well, that's no points. But hey, at least you learned a little bit more about Disneyland that you didn't know before. So you're still a winner in my book. Now, this game is how we're gonna introduce you all to every land in Disneyland, so you can also use the process of elimination too. There's a special extra hint. Okay, sound fun? Then gather around and we'll get started. Here's your first zoomed in shot. Pause the video if you need a little more time to look it over. Otherwise, just dive right into the clues. Clue number 1, this land has a brand new show opening soon. Clue number 2, you won't find any thrill rides here, but you will find lots of stores. And clue number 3, this strip of Disneyland will immediately lead you right on up to Sleeping Beauty Castle. Did you guess it? This land is Main Street, USA. All right, starting off strong. Time for round number 2. Here's your second picture. Pause if you need more time before the clues. Clue number 1, this area has the most rides in all of Disneyland Park. Clue number 2, this land has been deemed as a personal favorite of Walt Disney from back in the day. And clue number 3, one of the main dark rides here is stacked on top of another dark ride. Figure it out? This land is, of course, Fantasyland, and the stacked rides I'm referring to here is, of course, Alice in Wonderland, which was built on top of Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. In fact, when your ride vehicle enters the playing card room of the Alice in Wonderland ride, you actually feel the heat from the fiery underground scene in Mr. Toad's Wild Ride beneath you. That's why it's so hot in there. Round 3, time for another zoomed in shot. Look at that one, such art. Clue number 1, this park section is home of 2 of the most iconic Disneyland attractions, one of which just received a brand new extended queue. Clue number 2, beignets and Monte Cristo sandwiches are the staple foods of this location, at least for me. And clue number 3, one of the most iconic rides actually travels through one of the table service restaurants here. Ready for the reveal? This is New Orleans Square. And you know what? Give yourself a couple of extra bonus points if you knew the iconic rides in this area are Pirates of the Caribbean and Haunted Mansion. You deserve that pat on the back, my friend. Okay, this is fun. So let's jump into round 4. Another gloriously zoomed in pick for you. Clue number 1, you'll find not just 1, but 2 major ships in this location. Clue number 2, this is where you'll be able to watch Fantasmic whenever it's running. And clue number 3, this here is where you're gonna find the wildest ride in the wilderness. Okay, that last clue might have really given this one away, but the land is Frontierland. Oh, and there's 2 iconic boats, Mark Twain Riverboat and the sailing ship Columbia. If you knew both of these by name, give yourself 4 extra points, especially Sailing Ship Columbia. Nobody knows that. I'm just throwing away points like candy now. Okay, we're over halfway through the game, so make these last few rounds count. Now we're in round 5. Okay, this one might be tricky maybe. Clue number 1, this land only has 1 ride that's Lightning Lane eligible. Clue number 2, recently Tarzan was kicked out of an attraction in this area. And clue number 3, this land features an attraction that was the first ever to use audio animatronics inside the park. Give up? This land is Adventureland. And just in case you're scratching your head with some of these clues, the only Lightning Lane you can grab in this section of the park is for Indiana Jones Adventure, since Jungle Cruise currently doesn't have one. The Tarzan Treehouse was rethemed into the Adventureland Treehouse in 2023, and the first ever Disneyland show to use audio animatronics was, of course, Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room. Round 6, give it up for round 6. If you squint at this picture at just the right angle, you can kind of tell what it is, right? Clue number 1, this section of the park isn't Star Wars themed, but it does have Star Wars themed attractions. Clue number 2, there's a classic attraction here that's the only attraction in this area of the park left over from opening day. Just to give you a heads up, this one will be worth extra points if you can guess it. And clue number 3, you can often find green alien-themed macarons at one of the quick services here. This is Tomorrowland. For those of you who knew that, the opening day attraction that still remains in Tomorrowland after all this time is Autopia. Reward yourself with 5 extra points. As for the Star Wars themed attractions, you're going to find here Star Tours is a 4D experience that takes you on a randomized hyperspeed adventure with C-3PO as your trusty pilot by accident. And during the Season of the Force, which will take place this year between March 28th to May 11th, Space Mountain gets a Hyperspace Mountain overlay complete with Star Wars soundtrack and visuals. It's my favorite Space Mountain overlay. Here's round 7. Editor, zoom into a picture for us, pretty please. Clue number 1, technically this is the newest section of the park, though it might not feel like it. Clue number 2, one of the attractions here is going to give you a major arm workout. And clue number 3, you've got some fun new experiences to check out here during your next visit. Excited to hear the answer? This is Bayou Country. Originally, this area of the park was called Critter Country, up until 5 minutes ago. But after Tiana's Bayou Adventure, the 2 new Princess and the Frog themed gift shops and the reimagined Hungry Bear Barbecue Jamboree opened in this area in 2024, this land was renamed to reflect the big changes. As for the ride that'll give you an arm workout, that's reserved for Davy Crockett's Explorer Canoes, the best ride in Disneyland, which you'll actually be rowing across rivers of America. That being said, if you can't or don't want to row, that's okay too. The guides on the fore and after the canoe can navigate these waters just fine, so you can still sit back and enjoy the ride, minus breaking a sweat. But your fellow rowers or non-rowers may not be that thrilled with you. Anyway, I could do a whole video on the Explorer canoes, and maybe we will. Okay, y'all have been rocking this, at least I'm assuming you are. If you're not, just lie and say you're rocking it and award yourself some sneaky extra points when no one's looking. Time for round 8. Clue number 1, this whole area was entirely transformed back in 2023. Clue number 2, the headliner ride of this area is a near duplicate of one of the rides you'll find over in Disney's Hollywood Studios. And clue number 3, there's lots of interactive play areas here where your kids can blow off steam without waiting in long lines to experience all the Disney-filled fun. We have made it to Mickey's Toontown. How many of you immediately knew the headliner here was Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway? If you did, that's a bonus point for you. And now we've made it to the final round. Here's a zoomed in shot, although you might already know what this land is thanks to process of elimination. Clue number 1, this is where you find the park's only single pass lightning lane attraction. Clue number 2, there are 2 customizable souvenir experiences here that will require you to make advance reservations if you want to partake in them. Though same day availability might be an option too if you're visiting during a non-peak season. And clue number 3, this park area is almost an exact replica down to the blueprints of the park area you can find in Hollywood Studios too. This land is, of course, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Are you shocked? No, you're not. If you want to build your own lightsaber at Savi's workshop or build your own droid at the Droid Depot, you can make reservations for either or both of those custom experiences at 60 days out. All right, how'd you do? Tally up your score, add it to the comments, and let me know who in your family was the supreme ultimate champion. Now, here are some closures to keep on your radar next year. Closures aren't nearly as fun as games, but you still need to know about them before you go so you don't learn about them way too late. For instance, Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln in the Main Street Opera House closed on April 16th, 2024 for a lengthy refurbishment. The attraction, which features an audio animatronic Abraham Lincoln, will be adding a second show to the theater called Walt Disney: A Magical Life, which is going to feature the first ever animatronic of Walt himself. This show will open on May 16th, 2025, and at first it'll be the only show playing in this theater. However, after its initial run, Walt Disney will eventually take turns with the Mr. Lincoln attraction, so you don't have to worry about never seeing Honest Abe in Main Street ever again. Meanwhile, over in Fantasyland, It's a Small World will be closing for a refurbishment from January 21st through spring 2025. Note that the ride will also close briefly again in the fall to make way for its holiday overlay. And over at Haunted Mansion in early 2025, this classic dark ride will close again to be converted back to its OG version post-holidays, so it'll be down for the count for just a bit. Then it'll close again in late summer ahead of Halloween time to be converted back into Haunted Mansion Holiday. Happy birthday, Disneyland! I know I'm early with the party favors and confetti and fanfare, but if Disneyland can celebrate its own birthday for a year straight, then I can start celebrating its birthday early too. Disneyland will officially turn 70 on July 17th, 2025, which falls in the midst of a massively important time in the resort's history. thanks to the passage of Disneyland Forward in 2024. That's a whole other topic for another day, but basically the passage of Disneyland Forward means Disneyland's got a lot more freedom to expand in the coming years, and we can't wait to see that unfold, possibly even during the 70th anniversary festivities. We already know that Disneyland's planning to release a lot of new decor and snacks and merchandise during its 70th anniversary celebration. The Paint the Night Parade will be returning after its hiatus since 2017. This beloved nighttime parade will once again make its way down Main Street, USA, using millions of lights to create stunning colors and effects, all while featuring fan-favorite characters from Monsters, Inc. and Cars and Toy Story and more. And Wondrous Journeys will also be returning during Disneyland Resort's 70th celebration. This nighttime spectacular celebrates the legacy of Walt Disney Animation Studios and takes you on a journey through some of its most iconic characters and stories. This show also uses projection mapping across iconic park areas like Sleeping Beauty Castle, Main Street USA, the Rivers of America, and It's a Small World. The celebrations will kick off in Disneyland starting on May 16th, so be sure to sign up for our free DFB newsletter so you can stay in the know about any and all major Disneyland announcements as soon as they go live. So what do you need to know about Disneyland's hottest shows? Well, Disneyland might be well known for its variety of new and classic rides, but those shows, y'all, the Disneyland shows are going to give you full-body chills. So here are a few things you need to know about Disneyland's variety of tear-jerking masterpieces before you go. First, fireworks don't happen all year long. In Magic Kingdom, the Cinderella Castle Nighttime Spectacular is pretty much a nightly occurrence unless another after-hours event is going to wind up cutting the Magic Kingdom day short. But in Disneyland, the Sleeping Beauty Nighttime Spectacular isn't always a guarantee. Sometimes you'll get the projections and fireworks, and sometimes you'll just get the projections minus the fireworks. So you're going to want to make sure you check the Disneyland hours and events calendar online before your trip to see what's going to be available and when while you're there. The second nighttime spectacular you can potentially see in Disneyland is Fantasmic, which, as you found out during our little game today, takes place across the Rivers of America. Fantasmic also has an interesting schedule you'll need to be aware of. During busier times of year, like we're seeing during the summer season, Fantasmic will play twice nightly, once before the castle show and once after the castle show. Typically, the Fantasmic crowds are easier to navigate during the second show since people tend to knock out both performances earlier on, then start to head back home or back to their hotel rooms. However, there are other times during the year when Fantasmic may only happen once per night or not at all, again, when the slow season is upon us. So if Fantasmic is a priority experience for you, let me emphasize this, check the Disneyland calendar. During the slower seasons, Fantasmic may still make an appearance during the weekends, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, but if you want to make sure you see this show no matter what day of the week you're there, you may be better off visiting the parks when Disney's expecting there to be higher demand. And consider those dining packages. You don't have to purchase a dining package to get a good view of the Fantasmic show, because this one's pretty easy to see in multiple areas around Rivers of America. However, Disneyland's Fantasmic dining packages will give you the chance to enjoy a 3 or 4 course prix lunch or dinner, plus a reserved viewing area for the Fantasmic Evening Spectacular. You can make dining package reservations for Blue Bayou, which will be your priciest option at $89 per person, Riverbell Terrace, which will be your middle-of-the-road option at $55 per person, or Rancho del Zocalo, which will be your most affordable option at $35 per person. Again, not necessary most of the time, but always good to sort of take away the anxiety of trying to find a good place to watch the show. And use the extra shows and walkthroughs to your advantage. If you're visiting Disneyland during a peak season time, like around spring break or toward the end of the year, the ride lines can get kind of scary long, especially by the mid to late afternoon. So if your group has queue line fatigue, try one of the Disneyland shows or walkthrough experiences instead, which will get you into the Disney fun a whole lot faster and still provide you with that classic Disneyland entertainment. The shows and walkthroughs you can experience throughout the day with little to no waits in Disneyland include the Disney Gallery on Main Street, USA, Sleeping Beauty Castle walkthrough in Fantasyland. This is a hidden gem. A lot of people don't even know you can walk through Sleeping Beauty Castle. You can. It's air conditioned and it's lovely. Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room in Adventureland, the Adventureland Treehouse, also in Adventureland, Star Wars Launch Bay in Tomorrowland, and Mickey and Minnie's House walkthrough in Mickey's Toontown, though lines can get pretty packed for those too. Now, if you're more familiar with the way Disney World does things versus Disneyland, then these major ride line changes could threaten to trip you up if you don't know how to figure them out before you go. Tiana's Bayou Adventure ditched its virtual queue. As of December 10th, the V queue for Tiana's Bayou Adventure has hit the high road, so you can now access this ride like you would pretty much any other ride in Disneyland via a standby line or by using a Lightning Lane Multi-Pass or Lightning Lane Premier Pass. Here's how Lightning Lanes work here versus Disney World. When Disney Genie Plus switched over to Multi-Pass and Single Pass just this past summer, it completely switched around the way we plan out our Lightning Lanes over in Disney World. But for Disneyland, not a whole lot changed besides the name of the service itself. So here's how Multi-Pass works on the West Coast. You'll be able to select Lightning Lane return times for one ride at a time with a 1-hour arrival window. So there's no pre-selecting any Lightning Lanes here. Instead, Lightning Lane selections are made once you enter the park. Once you use the selection, you can make another one based on what's still available via the Disneyland app. Even though you can't pre-select Lightning Lanes, you can still pre-purchase Multi-Pass for $32 per ticket per day. However, you're still more than welcome to purchase it on your Disneyland app the day of your visit instead, which is subject to date-based pricing starting at $32 per day. As far as single pass selections are concerned, which are a separate paid upcharge from the Lightning Lane Multi-Pass service that allows you to bypass the main queues for Disneyland's hottest attractions, you can only purchase those on the day of your visit once you enter into the park. The only ride you can purchase a single pass for in Disneyland is for Rise of the Resistance, which typically ranges $20 to $25 per person per ride through. The newest Lightning Lane tier is, of course, Premier Pass, which grants one-time entry for every single Lightning Lane, which you can use across both Disneyland Park and Disney California Adventure on the day of its purchase. You'll even have access to the single pass Lightning Lanes for Rise of the Resistance in Disneyland and Radiator Springs Racers in DCA. This pass eliminates the need to monitor Lightning Lane availability and make new Lightning Lane reservations throughout the day. It's convenient, but awfully pricey. We're talking $300 to $400 per person pricey. But it can be a good option if you were just wanting to book a Disneyland VIP tour for the front of the line privileges alone, or if you only have one day to spend in Disneyland and you're not planning on coming back for a really long time. So yeah, maybe you want to do as much as possible with the limited amount of hours that you have. In Disneyland, you can purchase Premier Pass starting at 7 a.m. Pacific time up to 2 days before you visit. And while over in Disney World, you have to be a guest at one of the Disney-owned resorts in order to be eligible to purchase Premier Pass, any and all guests coming to Disneyland can add Premier Pass to their park visit, just as long as they've already got a valid theme park ticket purchased and the system hasn't sold out yet. We've made it to our dining by budget section. I love doing this. In our recent Ultimate Guide to Hollywood Studios video, I started organizing recommended park restaurants by budget, and y'all seem to really enjoy that. So I'm gonna do the same thing right now for our Disneyland food recs, so you know how to plan out your meals, no matter how little or how much you wanna spend on them. For those who just want snacks and drinks only, please, we're gonna start with Bengal Barbecue. This is located in Adventureland. It's a counter service spot that specializes in a variety of skewer selections, like the Banyan beef skewer, the pork belly skewer, and the bacon wrapped asparagus safari skewer, which is one of our personal favorites. Skewers tend to range between $6 and $9 each. Then, of course, you got the churro carts. I mean, did you really go to Disneyland if you didn't snack on at least one churro while you were there? Churro carts are sprinkled on several different lands all around the park, and many of them feature seasonal specialties alongside the classic cinnamon sugar. Regular churros typically cost just over $5, but seasonal specialties can get up to $8. And for some reason that nobody's quite yet been able to nail down, Disneyland's churros are just better. Don't skip making your way over to the kiosks with the cheesy garlic pretzel bread. Edelweiss Snacks and Maurice's Treats are both tiny kiosks featured in Fantasyland that offer up one of the most filling and ultra cheesy snacks in the park. It's cheesy garlic pretzel bread. You can pick up this hearty guy for around $8. The fresh baked chocolate chip cookies are all the rage in Harbor Galley over in Bayou Country. You can get these warm, melty, super chocolatey confections in a pack of 6 for about $7 or 13 for just over $12. But just keep in mind that they sell out super quickly, so you'll want to come by here early to pick up a pack while supplies last. Popping over to Main Street USA and the main hub, we're gonna go to Jolly Holiday Bakery Cafe. The Matterhorn Macaroon versus Raspberry Rose Macaron debate between Bria and me has been going on for well over a year now, back when I first learned how much she can't stand coconut and when she learned how much I can't stand food that tastes like flowers. But regardless of where you stand on this debate, you'll find both the macaron and macaroon right here at Jolly Holiday Bakery Cafe off Main Street, USA. Along with our personal desserts of choice, Jolly Holiday also offers a variety of other unique pastries, specialty coffees, and tea for the early mornings. Then a little later on in the day, the menu expands to include fresh salads, specialty sandwiches, soups, and quiche. The assorted desserts at Jolly Holiday cost around $5 to $7, while the sandwiches are priced a little higher, around $10 to $12, but very, very worth it. Now, I mentioned this in our latest Best Disneyland Restaurants for 2025 video, but I'll go ahead and mention it here too. Lots of guests love to pick up the classic savory snack over at Little Red Wagon, the hand-dipped corn dogs, which is at the tail end of Main Street, USA. However, the Little Red Wagon line can get rather lengthy, especially right before the nighttime castle show starts. So if you want a shorter line option with the same hand-dipped corn dogs, just swing by Stage Door Cafe over in Frontierland instead. Hand-dipped corn dogs tend to be just over $10 and usually come with a Cuties orange plus a side of chips. The Mint Julep bar attached to Tiana's Palace, formerly French Market, can be a bit misleading since you might think it only serves its namesake. However, this is also where you're going to find the ever so popular classic Mickey beignets too. A 3-pack of beignets costs $6 and a 6-pack costs $10. Don't forget that Mint Julep is absolutely historic and it's non-alcoholic. Tropical Hideaway is next. This is located just off the shores between the Jungle Cruise and Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room. Here you can enjoy an array of sweet and savory treats like Dole Whips and bao buns while also listening to Rosita, the Tiki Room bird, crack one cheesy joke after another. She is the moment. Individual baos tend to cost just over $6, but you can get a variety of all 3 flavors for just over $17. Meanwhile, the classic Dole Whips cost about the same as the individual baos, unless you get a Dole Whip float, which costs just over $7. Now blink and you'll miss this one. Troubadour Tavern is close to the Fantasyland Theater and features unique snacks like seasonal popcorns, stuffed baked potatoes, and several other creative items that go beyond the traditional theme park snacking staples. The baked potatoes at Troubadour cost a little over $8, and you know I am a baked potato fiend, and I don't know why they took them away from Disney World, and I'm going to patronize this spot every chance I can get. Next up, maybe you want to keep things affordable and quick, but get a little more than just snacks and drinks. We're going to start with Alien Pizza Planet. The little green men from Toy Story are offering up their pizzas for you to grab something quick, satisfying, and relatively affordable before hopping onto Space Mountain. While the pizza isn't too shabby here, I'm a bigger fan of the pasta dishes personally, like the chicken or shrimp fusilli. Pasta dishes range between $13 to $14, and the pizza here is sold by the slice at around $9 to $11. Over in Galaxy's Edge, Docking Bay 7 whips up plated eats in a fast casual quick service restaurant that serves space food. The menu includes interstellar delicacies like Batuan beef pot roast and Felucian kefta and hummus garden spread, and entrees here average between $15 and $17. Ah, looky here, the revamped member of the Disneyland quick service family, Hungry Bear Barbecue Jamboree. Paying tribute to the beloved country bears, which have an attraction in Magic Kingdom on the other side of the country, so this retheme still feels a little random to us. This is a place where you'll find the bears' favorite barbecue food while you enjoy your meal to the soundtrack of their greatest hits. Platters and plates are very substantial, which is why you'll have to pay a steeper price than most quick services, around $14 to $22. All right, everyone, here we go. Confession of the day. I love Rancho del Zocalo. In the heart of Frontierland, you'll find Rancho del Zocalo, a quick service where authentic Mexican classics impress us time and again. Plus, just the history of this place is one of my favorite stories in all of Disneyland history, where you've got the Frito Kid and Doritos being invented and all of that stuff. I mean, seriously, someone write a book just about Rancho del Zocalo. Even better, you get fresh and flavorful food here, generous portions, a beautiful setting with outdoor seating. It's seriously hard to beat. There are several entrees on this menu with prices ranging anywhere between $7 and $17 and tons to recommend. Originally, Red Rose Tavern in Fantasyland hit the scene as a temporary overlay of the eatery once known as Village House Restaurant to promote the live-action Beauty and the Beast film in 2017. But what began as a limited-time offering is now a full-fledged restaurant serving up counter-service classics like burgers and salads and flatbreads along with the gray stuff so you can try that famous dessert Lumiere sings about. sad in the film. Entrees cost $10 to $18. Now, Tiana's Palace, which again used to be French Market, is where you can order southern dishes inspired by Cajun and Creole cuisine. Think catfish po' boys, muffaletta sandwiches, jambalaya, and the like. Entrees at Tiana's cost about $15 to $20, though if you want to get the whole muffaletta sandwich that serves 4 to 6 guests, that's going to put you back $70. You can also get a half muffaletta that serves 2 to 3 for $35 or a single serving for just over $15. Now, for those who don't mind paying more for the quintessential Disneyland experience, we're going to start with Cafe Orleans. Get a big taste of the Crescent City at this casual yet stately Cafe Orleans restaurant. Decorated with vintage-style brass light fixtures, stained glass panels, and details reminiscent of the Big Easy, you can enjoy a filling meal here whether you choose to dine inside or out on the umbrella-covered patio. Cafe Orleans is a great alternative to Blue Bayou, especially during the busiest seasons around the holidays when Blue Bayou reservations can be real hard to come by. Plus, Cafe Orleans is rich with Disneyland history since this was a place Walt Disney himself often visited during his time in the parks, back when it was Creole Cafe, to grab a cup of joe from the cafe's espresso machine, which is still there. Entrees typically cost about $25 to $30. Next on our list is Carnation Cafe. This is an old-fashioned piece of Americana that harkens back to a simpler time, but offers modern versions of cafe classic dishes. The breakfast menu includes options like Mickey waffles and country fried steak and eggs, but beyond breakfast, you can order comfort foods like meatloaf, Walt's chili, even a sweet ice cream treat for dessert. And of course, we love the potato soup here. Entrees tend to be around $17 to $25. Heading across the street to Plaza Inn during lunch and dinner hours, Plaza Inn is a cafeteria-style eatery with a rich Victorian atmosphere and plenty of indoor seating. It's also got that famous fried chicken that I'm never going to shut up about because it's seriously that good. Meanwhile, breakfast here is a character meal experience featuring an all-you-care-to-enjoy spread with Minnie and friends. If you eat here during breakfast, adults will have to pay a prefixed price of $50 per person. But if you choose to eat here for lunch or dinner instead, the menu switches back over to a la carte and offers entrees ranging between $15 and $20. Definitely worth it for the best fried chicken in the world. And finally, I need to talk about Blue Bayou over in New Orleans Square. This is the one that I kind of foreshadowed there when we were talking about Cafe Orleans. Blue Bayou is a great date night setting. You got soft twinkling lights, painted paper lanterns, candlelit tables, moss-laden trees, and a clear view of the Pirates of the Caribbean attraction floating on by. But it's not just the lovebirds who are going to love this place. Families who enjoy Creole and Southern fare, like Monte Cristo sandwiches and jambalaya, are going to like the menu options as well as the dim-lit atmosphere here, too. But expect to pay big bucks for this one. Entrees tend to range between $33 and $55 or more. Want to get a head start to your Disneyland day to get ahead of the crowds? It's possible for a select number of guests, that is. Disneyland's early admission benefit allows Disneyland guests staying at one of the Disneyland-owned hotels to enter the parks 30 minutes before everybody else. But here's the catch. Unlike over in Disney World, where early theme park entry is available at every park on every single day, Disneyland Park and California Adventure take turns offering their early admission benefit. So on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, you can enter Disneyland Park 30 minutes before the general public. On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and Sundays, that perk is only going to be good for those planning to hit up Disney California Adventure. Disneyland's got a huge year ahead. I can feel it. And how exciting is it that you get to be right in the middle of it all? For more Disneyland planning tips and tricks and secrets and food wrecks, you name it, be sure to check out our Disneyland 2025 playlist over on our YouTube channel next. And don't forget to sign up for our free DFB newsletter so you can stay up to date on all the future announcements we hear about this classic park during its big birthday extravaganza. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.